Hi, welcome to another Semicast. Well, today's topic is the ACC Network is launching, apparently. It's supposed to launch in 2019. This fall, the digital platform of the ACC Network will launch. And what I really wanted to talk about was how much will ESPN's narrative about the ACC change now that the ACC Network is going to exist under them? Because I go back and forth with this with some of my Gator friends, and I try to tell them ever since the SEC networks come out that ESPN's coverage of the SEC is biased. It's skewed. It's ridiculous. And they'll be like, no, man, it ain't. You're just believing in a conspiracy theory, man. You think everybody hates the Seminoles. No, I don't. It's called good business. The SEC network has been nothing but a moneymaker for, of course, the SEC and ESPN. So it only makes sense for ESPN to promote their product as much as possible and promote it in a good light. So now that the ACC is getting a network under ESPN, I would like to think the same type of thing is going to happen. You're going to see more coverage, obviously, of the ACC. And the narrative about ACC teams is likely going to change. You might hear some things like Wake Forest held tough, but they just barely lost to insert some out-of-conference team that beat them by 30. So I'm really curious to see how it goes. I guess now we have the EACC-SPN network, because there's always been the running joke lately of ESECPN, you know. So I'm almost glad this network's coming out, because I can't wait to some of my Gator friends and SEC fans come back and be like, "Oh, what do you say now? Now the ACC's getting their own network on ESPN. I guess they don't hate the Knowles anymore, or the ACC. I guess they weren't biased." I'm like, no, bitch, no. Did you watch ESPN the last few years? It's been ridiculous in their coverage of ESPN. And as I said before, that's no conspiracy theory. They don't just happen to like the SEC better and dislike other conferences. It has to do with money, as most things are in life. Somehow it always comes back to money. I'm not sure if I'll even subscribe to the network. I don't know. I'm sure my cable bill is going to go up whenever it does come out. I might get down with the digital platform. And a lot of people lately have brought up the point that, man, cable's dying. Like, the cable as we know it growing up is starting to die. And this generation is called cord cutters. Everyone's getting their shit online. And why can you blame them? Cable bills are ridiculous, especially when you only watch, I don't know, maybe a third of the channels you have. It just seems like a waste of money. We still have cable just because, well, we're lazy, and that's all we know. But I do watch many of the stuff I enjoy online. So anyway, enough of the EACC-SPN network. You know, here comes the bias. Moving on to something football related with the Seminoles. The 24/7 Sports website for the Seminoles just released some different weight gains amongst the players, because the roster was released at the Jimbo Fisher camp, I guess, yesterday, and some telling weights, or some interesting weight changes came up. Josh Sweat, who in a previous podcast I said I hope he can get up to 250 or more. He's up to 241 now from 236, just 5 pounds, but headed in the right direction. The biggest weight gain was Brock Ruble, the right tackle. He was just a massive guy, 6'8". Last year he was, I think, 293, and now he's 315. I'm really not that excited about that particular weight gain, just because I don't think Ruble's going to be the starter. And watching him last year, he doesn't really have the quickest feet. I mean, he has the frame, but some other weight gains. I think Alec Eberle, the projected center, is now closer to $3 billion. Dalvin Cook gained a few pounds. He's up to 210 now from 206. Not much, but hey, something. DeMarcus Christmas is about 295 now. He's up a few pounds. Yeah, those are some of the notable weight gains. I was really just glad to see Sweat gain some weight. Rick Leonard, sorry, don't want to forget him. He's moving from defensive line to right tackle. He played in the spring game, looked good. He's very athletic, but he needs to put on weight. And I think it had him up to 295-ish. So he's getting up there. If he can get over $3 billion by the time the season kicks off, he might just be the starter. I don't know if I trust Ruble. Derek Kelly, I thought, was the guy, but it sounds like it's an open competition. Some weight losses. Jalen Wilkerson was a big tight end I got a couple years ago. I think he actually might have been a 4-star guy out of Georgia. He's dropped like 10, 15 pounds, but he's still like 260. So to me, that's pretty much just a small tackle. That's really not a tight end. No, there were some other weight losses, but none of like real serious note that I can even recall right now off the top of my head. I don't have the information in front of me. This is just going by what I read last night. But one last thing before I go. Chris Casher was not listed on the roster, nor was Lorenzo Featherston. And I know Lorenzo Featherston is getting medically disqualified. Casher, it wouldn't surprise me if he got medically DQ'd, but I don't know if that's the case. Either way, there was a possible numbers crunch coming in the fall because FSU had signed more players that put them over the 85 scholarship limit, but it appears that's not going to be an issue now. Between these guys getting DQ'd, some other guy, Pender, gone, and some other attrition, looks like the roster is going to fit. Oh, who am I forgetting? Sorry. Shavar Manuel didn't qualify, so that helped. He was a 4-star guy that flipped from the Gators. I wasn't expecting much from him his freshman year anyway. He hasn't looked good since probably his sophomore, junior year of high school. He was more of a, low risk, high reward. Like, all right, we have room, we'll take him. If he pans out, then great. And the other one that didn't qualify was a linebacker, I think. Yeah, it was a linebacker, Keon Joyner, who was a 4-star, which is kind of disappointing because Seminoles have had bad linebacker luck as far as holding on to recruits or recruits panning out. I mean, there's a guy that I follow on Twitter. I think it's either at CB Blunt. I think it's at CB Blunt. I don't think it's at Centifunk. Anyway, he had a list of the recent linebackers, like 4- and 5-star type guys that FSU signed, and it was just a shit show. Either guys transferred, got dismissed, or medically DQ'd. Like I'd say at least half of them that on this list that he had. The list was probably about a dozen deep. It was not looking good. But anyway, I kind of went off on a little sidebar there. ACC Network kicks off 2019. The digital platform kicks off this fall. And I just can't wait to watch my ACC Network. I'm going to watch Wake Forest volleyball. I'm going to watch, oh, wait, no, I'm not. I could care less about the conference. The only time I care about the conference is in relation to Florida State football and their strength of schedule. I could give a shit less. But anyway, I'm sure all the SEC rednecks are, going to point their fingers right back like, see? And they'll be wrong. It's no conspiracy. It's good business, and I'm sure the ACC will start getting that coverage the SEC has on that 4-letter network. Until next time, this has been a Florida State Semicast.